thought our fans were unbelievable. They came out. Our student section was fantastic. I think we had a record crowd today. I don't know the exact number, but over 105,000 people, and it felt like
Stevie Lee. Man, how do you put into words what we witnessed yesterday? I know DKR has had some fine moments, but it really showed out to the country because you could hear. I saw the replay. Man, you could hear that sound, the roar. I mean, it was constant, and that's what Texas fans have always wanted around here.
Yeah, man. I don't know if they can call us T-Sips anymore, man. It was, dude. I was in the stadium. I was looking around. I was like, man, there's some passion in here right now. And I think, one, it's always electric when game day comes to town, right?
Right.
But CDC, Chris Del Conte, who don't know who CDC is, the whole athletic department are doing a really good job for the game day experience, right? With the Longhorn city limits, and then just the way the campus have shaped out to be, the basketball stadium right across the street, and so it's kind of like all tight knit. Bevo Boulevard, man, everything was just electric. And it was morning, man.
Yeah, that's the thing we forget.
Yeah, and it was so electric that I woke up at it was like 5:30 in the morning, and I was like, "We got a game, let's go."
Game day, baby, let's roll. Game day is in town.
Yeah, game day's in town. I was ready. My wife was like, "Hey, lay back down. You got another hour or two, and then we'll get to the stadium. Don't worry." And I said, "You better not make me late." So it was that type of atmosphere yesterday, man. And dude, the game was a lot of fun. It was a whole lot of fun to see the energy in that stadium.
It was beautiful. I'll just show. This is when I was looking for you. We were making our rounds around campus. Then we decided we check you guys out on the east side, and I ran into your guy there, Big Todd Hunt.
Yep.
Then Lance Gunn and family.
Yeah, man.
Just a beautiful day, beautiful morning. Little did we know what we would witness inside that stadium.
Yeah.
And man, 20-19, the final there. And I just thought, and obviously your input on this has more value than me because you played in the trenches for Texas in big games, but I thought both sides just matched the level of intensity, matched the level of physicality of Alabama. And obviously that name Alabama, that just resonates amongst everybody. And I thought Alabama kind of had to change their game plan a little bit.
I think Alabama didn't know what they were getting themselves into, right? The arrogance of a team and a program like that can get they can get beside themselves easily. It happened at Texas.
Yeah.
Back in the day when I played, I talked to some of my other competitors that I played against, and they were like, "Yeah, when y'all got off the bus, it was like 17-0 already." So it's because it was just we had that I don't know, we had something about us that we were coming in your stadium, we were gonna beat you. And that's why we had 9-10 win seasons back then.
Yeah.
So that's what Alabama, I think, was also experiencing when they got off the bus here at the University of Texas, and Texas said, "No, sir." Right. So we they thought that they were going to come in and they were going to be handed the 21-point spread, and they had actually had And so the way Sark got those guys ready, they did match the intensity on both sides of the ball. Special teams, I love the way our kicker flipped the field, the punter. He flipped the field on them a couple times. And then, it was really, really good to watch. It was fun to watch us come out with intensity in our stadium. I want to remind everybody that we did lose the game. We did lose because there are no such things as a pretty loss.
No moral victories.
No moral victories. We lost, right? But I'm still smiling though. What I can take away from this is we got a lot to build on, and we got except for years past, you go to that first big test and it's like it's gonna be a tough season. We had our first big test and it was like it's gonna be a good season,
Yeah.
And so the Alabama people were in the stands were so good. The people I was in front of, or I was behind and they were in front of me, we were jabbing at each other all game, just friendly banter. But then at the end of the game, and they kicked the field goal, and we threw that Hail Mary almost, and time runs out. They both turned around to us, and they were like, "We'll see y'all in the playoffs, man. That was a good game." So, yeah, and they were dead serious. But it's a long season, so we gotta, especially we have the injured QB1, right?
Yeah.
So, but it was electric. The kids rose to the occasion and actually performed. And the good thing is on offense, the O-line has some things to fix. The quarterback has some things to fix. Running backs, miscues or some blocks, things to fix. Receivers, hang on to the ball. O-line or D-line have some things to fix. That long run, that's their only explosive play.
That
one. Was only one explosive play. I saw that play all day long because their O-line got around and reached the contain man on our defensive end and outside linebacker, and they just got up to the second level and he was gone. So we got to fix that. We got to make sure tackles on the blitz, and we have to be sure blockers on the automatic. We called it automatic team, which is the field goal team. Sure blockers on the field goal team. Hold your blocks for a split second longer and finish them. All those things I just said can be improved upon in the next couple of weeks. And those are the things that those are the bad things that I saw holding a number one team. They had to kick a last 2-minute field goal just to win the game against us. And we still have room for improvement.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of it. Regardless of the injuries, we'll obviously get to the injuries that, obviously quarterback is pretty significant. We'll get to that shortly. But, man, first downs, Texas on that 25-16. And that is a pretty significant win right there. Texas had more passing yards. The penalties, the few that were called against Texas were costly ones. Because we're definitely going to talk about that because I want to show you that video. I know you've seen it, but 15 penalties on Alabama. I can't imagine what it's going to be like in practice in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, for Coach Saban.
Feel sorry for those guys.
Oh man, that's going to be living hell. So the big topic. I know one game doesn't make a season if you win or lose, but I honestly feel like. Not that the outside, the journalists, whatnot, even though Texas moved up in the polls with a loss, there is a percentage.
Where are we? I haven't seen where are we?
I think AP, I think it was 20.
Okay.
Something like that.
They're still hating on us, but go ahead.
Yeah, but to move up after a loss, that just tells me that, okay, those boys in Austin are for real. And this is here's Coach Sark, and I loved it. It was Kurt Bowles from the Statesman asking the question. The noise from the outside, does that change the perception of his program? And I kind of love Sark's response to this.
Do you think you changed perceptions from the outside people today? I know you always want to block out the noise, but you obviously have an inner confidence, but I wonder if you changed some minds today.
I don't really care. I care about our team. The perception doesn't matter. Like I said, the perception was we were supposed to walk out there today and get blown out.
Yep.
But they're the only ones that believed that they could do it, were those guys in that locker room.
Exactly. Yeah, everybody in that building, I think, believed, from the players all the way, coaching staff to the trainers to the equipment managers. Everybody believed that they could do this, and that sideline was rocking, right? Just because they believed. And all we got to do is take that energy throughout the rest of the year, and we can be really, really special.
I feel it. Speaking of that big energy, I got to tell you about two Alabama girls I saw. They had a Nick Saban button with his picture on it, and on top of it said "Big Nick Energy."
Okay. All right. Say it faster. Say it faster.
Yeah. Big Nick Energy.
Oh, okay. All right. You got to be careful with that one.
Hey, man, FCC's listening.
That's good.
I loved it because even after this game, Stevie, the big Will Anderson was I'm not saying they removed him from the game, but they did a fantastic job of kind of offsetting, keeping him from disrupting the offense. And I want you to hear what he had to say about playing in Austin. This guy, this was just not something that he was forced to say or coached to say, unlike what we heard last week from the future NFL star.
Since I've been here these last 3 years, this is probably like the loudest environment I've played in, probably the hardest game I've played in since I've been in college football. Their fans were super loud, they had a lot of energy, but the atmosphere was crazy.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Never heard an opponent say that about the University of Texas.
Oh.
The culture has changed. It's flipped. I said we're not T-Sips anymore. It's going to be a hard win coming in our stadium playing us, especially. Well, okay, so I whined and got upset because they moved for the last 10 years. I had seats in section 17.
Yeah,
that's the north end zone. So I had a great view of the jumbotron and a great back view of the field. And I love that. Being a football guy, I like watching the back view so I can see they develop. And so this year, man, I went kicking and screaming. They moved all the alumni, our tickets over to section 31, 32, or 30, 31 and 30. And so the first game I was there, I was just upset because 10 years, my kids would get out of the car and they know where their seats are. They don't even they know all the vendors that are down there. They know them by name and everything. That's our end of the stadium. That's where we were. But putting those students, so they moved us to that section because they wanted to put the students in section 17. I said all that to say they put the students over there. I think that was brilliant. Now, so the students being loud, being crazy in that end zone is better than a bunch of alumni being in that end zone that are just analyzing the game and not being crazy as much as the students are. So when you look down on that end in section 17 and that north end zone and you see all the students and going crazy and being loud, that was the right move. And so that's what he's talking about, the electricity in the stadium. So I can't be too mad at being moved, my seats being moved, because that's exactly what they were going for moving us.
Method to the madness, so to speak. It was.
Now I see it. So
planned for they envisioned this type of setup. Made it tough. I'm with you. I've never heard an opponent say what Will Anderson did. Now the challenge is now for the fans have got to try to do the best to repeat that every week.
Every week, yeah. We need that energy every week. I mean, yeah, we need that energy every week, but it's hard to do that the way it was like yesterday because we've had big games in the stadium. It's just was never like that, man.
No.
We had the record crowd of 105, over 105,000.
Unreal.
Yeah, it's unreal, right? And so, but rearranging the students down there on that end, the stadium is all bowled in now, right? So it's a little bit different from when I played. It was kind of an open end when I played where Moncrief Newhouse is, and it was a horseshoe almost,
Yeah.
right? And then they put those temporary bleachers up. And now we got the Jumbotron holding all the noise in. You got the Bevo. I don't even know what they call that end zone now. I just know it's the money end zone because they want a lot of money to sit over there.
Hey, they were sitting in the seats this time, so big
They
shout
were.
out to those in the south end zone coming outside in 100-degree heat.
Yeah, I told before he left Arthur Johnson and CDC, I said, because I sat over there a couple games, and there was a complaint of, man, when you look on TV, it looks like the seats are empty. And I was like, it's not empty. We're all down here in the air condition, getting drinks and eating. I said, if you had a waitress come up there and bring me my food and drinks, I'll be in the seats. And I think that they actually was like, you're right. And so I think they have people passing out, their or waiter. I don't know if they're waiters, but people coming through and making sure everyone's okay from their seats. Yeah. So and getting more people in the seats. But you're right, they're in their seats, and that was good to see. But it was not a empty seat in that stadium, man. I think people just kind of snuck in some kind of way too, man.
I think so. I didn't know it could hold 105,000, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Yeah. So when I played back then, I think we were at 85 to 90. Yeah. That was it. And now we're up to 105. I mean, there was some really nice renovations going on.
It looks
the stadium first class now. It's a first class stadium. It's probably one of the best places to watch a football game, a college football game in the country.
Yeah. It has become that 100%, and it's it looks good. I love watching the game when it's recorded, just to see how things develop, and that field looks good. But it looks much better after the fact when you're in your AC. But yeah. I wouldn't change anything about it. So, Steve, we got a problem. It's not a season-ending problem, but Quinn Ewers, the injury to him, and I've got a snapshot here of kind of a screen. It's like a still shot of that injury, and there it is. It's kind of hard to watch because when he went down, I didn't think it was a major injury. I thought maybe he had his wind knocked out of him. Yeah, but it's much more than that. It's a joint in his shoulder, and apparently he's suffering pain in his sternum area because I think it's not the AC joint, but it's another joint in that area. Sam Bradford, when he was at Oklahoma in 2009, had that same similar injury, but it was on his throwing arm. Quinn, this is not his throwing arm, so that's the positive right there. But apparently he's estimated to be out 4 to 6 weeks, maybe back for Oklahoma. Mm-hmm. And as you and I were talking about it, now we wonder who will start this next game because Hudson, what a beast, playing through that pain and that hobbled leg.
Mm-hmm. So, we want our QB1 to be out there. We want if Quinn is our guy, we want him out there. But in the same breath, the coach have the whole week to game plan whomever's going to be QB1. And it's more than likely Card. So we can game plan to his strengths. Like I said last week, this is why these guys make the big money.
Yeah.
This is why you're pulling in $5, $6, $7, $8 million a year, is to put the kids in the right situation to win the game. Right? So we don't have Quinn. We don't have him to be on the field. That's a fact. The other fact that you have to live with is I got to choose Card or Malik
Murphy or Charles Wright.
Right. More than likely it's going to be Card. That decision needed to be made after the game. We're going to continue to go with Card. All right, so let's game plan to his strengths. We got to put him in the right situations to be successful. That's why you make the money. That's That's how you make your money, right? So, so hopefully they've already figured out who's going to be the quarterback, and they're game planning to his strengths. We got UTSA. We don't want this emotional win or loss to carry over to UTSA either, right? So, and I don't think it will. I think that I think the energy in the locker room, the energy with the team and the energy, the way Coach was talking at the press conference, I love it because it's just going to take them to a different level. It's like we're here and we need to be here, and here, you know. So and continue to work. So it's going to be fun to watch. But we know now who our quarterback is going to be, and so we can game plan to that quarterback. Now, Ewers, Quinn was getting it down the field before he got hurt, and I wanted
ball freely.
Yeah, good balls. And so I wanted to see Card continue to test them down the field, you know. And they did once or twice. Just Card just kind of overthrew, or the receiver zigged when he thought he was going to zag, you know. So it was a couple miscues right there, but now we got the whole week to game plan it, and we got UTSA, so we can also. Golly, I don't ever want to take an opponent for granted, but it's UTSA. Okay, they can beat us. When you step on the field, you can get beat by anybody, but they'll have a good chance to let Card loose and let him, you know, actually see what he can really do in game time situations against. You have enough wiggle room to do it against UTSA.
Yeah,
I guess that's what I'm trying to say. Yeah,
and, you know, it's going to be that's going to be another layer to the story this week, as you mentioned. You know, it's how this team will respond after experiencing what they did against Alabama and being this close. I mean, honestly, I want to go ahead and say it. That was right there.
Yeah,
was right there. That was Texas' game to lose. And I never thought I'd say this a week ago on this date. I mean, looking forward. But there's been speculation that Charles Wright may be a part of the fold. You know, he had great numbers at Austin High. He's actually a really good arm. I mean, but like what you said, I honestly feel like whoever they decide on, that's who we got to, you know, support. And I think knowing this staff, they will be fully prepared with that offensive staff. One thing that really, I'm going to be honest with you. I still look at this video and I have no idea what to think because how the rule is interpreted. Initially said it was a targeting on Overshown. If you look at Bryce Young's leg, Sweat rolls him over, but Young rolled with him on top of him. So the only thing that touched was his shin, but by rule, I may be corrected here. If your shin touches, you're down.
You're down.
And you be the judge here, man, because this is the most bizarre scenario. I mean, here we go.
Steps up, and he's sacked. It's a safety. That's a safety.
Personal foul, roughing the passer with targeting. Number 0, defense. 15.
Man, that should have been a safety, in my opinion.
And the other thing is, where in the hell, even on live play, do you see 0 rough the passer? No, there was he hit him in his legs. There was no, you know. Anyway, so yeah, you're getting me fired up right now, man.
Yeah, I was highly pistified when I first saw it. You sit in a stadium, it's hard to judge that call.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't know, man. That was that Heisman benefit of the doubt call. You know what I'm saying? And even still, I guess if it wasn't an intentional grounding because they had a player in the vicinity.
Supposedly, I mean, I looked at it over and over and over.
Yeah, and the ball did not get past the line of scrimmage. You know, all these things that could have been called and none of them was, So what was it? Was it a Pac-12 crew?
Yeah.
What is it? A SEC crew? It wasn't an SEC crew, right?
No, I want to actually. I think it wasn't Big 12 officiating crew. Alabama.
I believe it was Pac-12. I think I heard it was Pac-12. No, maybe.
Well, it was Big 12.
It was a Big 12 crew?
Yeah, it was Big 12 for sure.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
That's that. So,
right.
I have a theory on that. So, there is a shortage in officials nowadays.
There's a shortage
at all levels, except for NFL. I don't know if that's because of that, but it looked like that official, the end judge or back judge, whatever, in that end zone was so confused he felt like he had to throw a flag for something. That's what it looked like.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
Now, even so, I think Overshown, he was coming in to hit him because Young's arm was going forward.
Mm-hmm.
Why would you not hit him?
Right. I don't know.
So they waived that.
Yeah. And so what do they just call incomplete pass, right?
It's grounding, right?
No. They didn't call grounding.
When it was fourth down.
Yeah, so they just called it was just an incomplete pass then.
It's awful.
Yeah. So if it was grounding in the end zone, then that's a safety. Am I correct?
Yeah, because you got to go back, and that would take you out of the end zone on the penalty.
Yeah, it'd be safety. But yeah, that was a bad one. I have a theory. I have a theory about the Big 12 refs too, man. Because we always get we got screwed a few times from Big 12 refs, man. It's they're upset that we broke up the Big 12.
That's what Norman said. Norman Watkins. We had a man.
They're just mad that we broke up the Big 12 because last couple of years, we had some terrible calls with Big 12 refs.
Horrible.
Yeah. So I don't know, man.
Stevie, it dates back to that 2016 game, Oklahoma State, and with Charlie saying he bumped into him, or 2015.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
That was bull.
Yeah. Personal foul call on the coach that he ran into him. Yeah. So it's always they got some kind of chip on their shoulder against Texas. Sometimes it seems that way. Sometimes, so
that's what it feels like.
Really do you have the video of that face guarding on that the fade in the end zone?
I wish I had that piece of video.
So that right there that's a clear as day. Even the Alabama fans turned around and looked at us like, "Oh, we got away with one on that one." And I'm like, and I'm in the stands, dude. You have a front row seat on the field and you don't call that. He is face guarding. The ball is in the air.
Doing this.
The DB did not even look back for the ball.
Right.
Yeah. And he has his hands on the receiver, So that's a clear as day call, no call. And then, it was just it was bad officiating. And I think I think the Big 12, I mean, we're getting out of the Big 12, but we still got games to play in the Big 12 and a record to uphold. But they're gonna have to do something about their bad officiating because it's
consistently bad.
Yeah, consistently bad. You're right. You're exactly right.
Consistently bad.
Yeah, and all we want is we want a good game. We want good, fair calls. If you're gonna call it on this side, call it on that side, right? So just fix that because you're getting in the way of some good college football.
That was one of the best games I have seen in person, or it may be the best.
Yeah, it was pretty fun. It was special.
It was a lot of fun, and it's I wouldn't change anything about that. So Sark, of course, was asked about that entire situation, and he took the high road on it. Well, mainly because he'd get fined if he didn't. Mm-hmm. But he does a great job of handling all that.
Bad luck on the potential safety there. That could have changed the kind of the complexion of the game, but that's football, man. That's the way it goes.
Short and sweet.
He's better than me.
Yeah,
he's better. That's probably why I'm not a head coach.
Yeah, I mean that literally if it wasn't for that, I think Alabama would have been on the ropes.
Oh, no question. No question. Yeah.
It's
And there's a couple plays, and I know I weren't the only one, but this is a judgment call because you have to watch the clock. The play clock was going down, and Bryce hadn't snapped the ball yet. It was on double zeros, and a couple times he hadn't snapped the ball yet. And so that's something that you missed. But referees are trained to see the clock and then look at the ball. If the ball is snapping, then they're not going to call it.
right.
But if it's blatant and the ball is still sitting on the ground with its double zeros, then they'll call it, But, I was looking at that because after that first, had to call an early timeout on the end of the north end of the end zone, north end of the field. And I said then, I was like, the crowd is really impacting their play calling and stuff like that. So I started actually paying attention to the play clock and what Bryce was doing. He would, after he'll get set and have to go and walk into the O-line to make audibles. And that takes time. And so when that means the University of Texas fan base, that we're doing our job as fans in the stands if they have to go all the way into the line to make his audible calls,
Well, he was getting in between the guard and tackle on the other side to get into their ear holes.
Mm-hmm.
That's a beautiful thing to see.
Yeah, exactly. And honestly, man, we haven't seen that in a long time at the University of Texas. I don't think we ever seen it the way it was this time. I think, passion of that game and the configuration of the new configuration of the stadium is impacting all that.
It's coming around. It's all about, as we say, changing the culture, so to speak.
Yep.
Now, one thing, you're a defensive guy. I know we've talked about the defense a lot here, but I love watching the exotic looks, the zone blitzes. I mean, this one, Jalen Ford had one bad play, but the rest of the game after that, he put it behind him and he made plays like this.
In space. Here's Young in trouble and it got out. Jalen Ford.
That energy, baby.
Yeah, man. This is coming out party, dude.
Yeah.
Man, listen, I told you last week, didn't I tell you? I said these coaches got to put these guys in the right position to be successful. This is where they make their money, and they did that, right? They did. They put him on a blitz so he can be successful and get to that quarterback. What was the one bad play that he had? What were you talking about?
I think he went inside of the ball carrier and they got extra yards.
Gotcha. That's fine. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, there was a couple of leaky yards that we have to get fixed, but also standing your ground too. We were a little bit too concerned about Bryce and not covering the middle. So our middle crossing routes were open all day.
Yeah,
not all day, but they were open, And Bryce was a little antsy in the backfield, so he missed a couple of receivers across the middle. But if he was on, we would have had some. There was a couple of receivers about to run free that just missed the pass, So that stuff we can see on film. Be disciplined. If you're running with a receiver, stay with them. Keep your eyes out of the backfield. Stay with them. And if we have another running quarterback, we'll spot somebody on him. Do your job. You know what I mean?
Do your job. Stay at home.
Do your job. Yeah, stay at home and do your job.
Well, that's a good question. I went into it. The objective I had was simply I want to see who is a spy on Bryce. And I think they mix it up so much that we couldn't tell.
Exactly. So, yeah. So there was that one play. I think they got like 17 yards on it. And I think it was the last drive where Overshaw was dropped back in coverage. And he just hesitated for a second because he thought Bryce was going to run. And Bryce hit him over the top and got that big gain. I don't know if he was spying and dropping back in coverage, but that was good that we didn't know who was spying him, and they were just playing their game. You know what I mean? So that was good, and hats off to Gary
Patterson.
Man.
Thumbprints all over this.
Yeah, man. So I don't want him to go anywhere, man. I don't want him
Gary,
to go.
Stay.
He needs to stay. But somebody's going to give him some head coach money, man, because he's a head coach. You know, he's a head ball coach. Unless he wants to stay in Austin or in Texas and do his thing. I hate to say it, but we can dump some money in his lap and just have him be our DC, you know.
He's a special assistant to CDC and Steve Sarkisian.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, I know we mentioned it, and this is a tough game after a big emotional game, and our guy Jeff Traylor and his Roadrunners are coming to town. He's the co-cover boy on Dave Campbell's Texas Football, which is the Bible of football in this great state.
Yep.
They they had emotional loss, much like Texas Alabama at the Alamo Dome a week before last against Houston, I believe. Mm-hmm. And this week they went to Army and pulled that out. I think that was in overtime. Army is one of those teams that they're hard to compete against because they still run that, I think, triple option.
Dude, old school football.
Old school football. Traylor, obviously, a legend from Gilmer, Texas, has a stadium named after him in East Texas, and was on Charlie's staff, and it really helped recruiting.
Mm-hmm.
They have one of the nation's most dangerous quarterbacks, Frank Harris.
Yeah.
What worries you about UTSA? Because I've thought this game would be one, in addition to Tech in Lubbock, as two games that really, they need to be red alert, so to speak.
I don't think that I'm going to be totally honest with you, and they can use this as what is that, chalkboard material?
Bulletin board.
Bulletin board material. I don't think that we should have anything to worry about with UTSA. The thing that we need to worry about is us.
Good point.
Not letting an emotional win or an emotional loss beat you twice. You know what I mean? Right? So we put a lot of energy into this Alabama game. A lot. And we ended up losing by 1 point. It's a heartbreaker. These kids, it's a heartbreaker. Us as fans, we feel great about the season, but those kids put a lot into it, and they still lost. So you don't let that one loss, like I said, beat you twice. So getting you let that Alabama game go. Remember how it feels, but let it go, and let's move on to our next opponent and take our frustration out on them. So UTSA might be a punching bag.
It's possible.
Yeah.
But it'll be a night game, and I think there's going to be fans that want to come back and see this, because I'm starting to think, for the most part, I think people love what they saw. Mm-hmm. I mean, Texas football sells itself. I get it. But now that it's a night game, they want to relive that atmosphere that we witnessed this past week, yesterday, in 100-degree heat. And
it was hot out there.
Man, I had to put the beer down and drink a little agua.
I spent $20 on just water. On just water. They gave me a little shopping bag when I left the stand. I was like, man, thank you. And I just took a bunch of waters to my seat.
That's smart.
It was so hot, man. It was so hot. And then you imagine 20 to 30 degrees hotter on the field, So those kids were ready for it, So
they were in shape, you know, and it may be because they use manscaped.com products. Manscaped.
That was perfect.
I don't know if Jeff Traylor is a manscaped.com user, but we'll let him we'll give him a break. He's a great guy. I don't know if manscaped.com is his cup of tea, but all I got to say, you guys go online to manscaped.com and you know, this is their greatest package available, the Ultra Smooth package.
There you go.
3-step process, Stevie. And
There you
use
go.
MANCAVE20, all one word, in that promo code, and that gets you 20% off of those bad boys. And it works, especially when you're on the go. It's real easy to pack if you're on a trip and you're traveling. A little bitty razor about this big and 2 products that's essential for that grooming process, if you will.
No question. No question. Good stuff.
Sweet.
I like the clippers because they're plastic.
Yes.
Yeah. So there's less nicks and cuts.
And that is key because that's one area which takes a little while to I want to use the term coagulate.
Yeah,
For the
exactly.
blood to coagulate.
Absolutely. Absolutely, man. That's good. Manscaped, no question.
Manscaped.com, baby.
There you go.
ManCave20, one word. Hey, so I got a story for you. It pertains to this. So after the game, we stay on campus a little while and we end up at Monty's. And this game would just turn final. And, let's play the video, and then I want to wait to the second part of the video. It's on campus at Appalachian State. This is how it ended in College Station and the celebration a couple thousand miles away out east in the mountains of Boone, North Carolina.
Takes it, falls to the ground, and Appalachian State has done it again. They come to College Station, and they take down the number 6 team in the country.
Man,
you gotta love college football, man.
Most beautiful thing, best time of year.
The second game of the season is like a championship game for them, man.
Hey, the best tweet, Appalachian State football on their Twitter handle. Thanks for the $1.5 million buy.
Yeah. Yeah, man. They paid them to come and beat them. You know, that's golly, man. That's tough, A&M. Come on, man.
What is up? We were at Monty's at the bar. It was a little, they have a little small bar. I start laughing like a little boy. I couldn't stop laughing. I mean, there was a point where I was giggling. It was so embarrassing. Everybody starts laughing. Other people start laughing at me for my laugh.
Yeah.
And I couldn't stop. And they had no idea. But it turns out I just couldn't stop laughing. But
so I watched the end of that game just because I heard that it was about to. I had to get home. I was like napping, man. I don't know how you were still out. It was hot. I got home and just took a nap for a little bit. But I turned on that game and it just hit double zeros. That coach is passionate about their kids, man.
Yes,
he's very passionate about their kids, and I feel like those kids were playing for him, and he has those kids back, whatever they need, man. I think that it's a tight-knit family up there, and it's in the mountains, so they have to be tight-knit family, So it was really cool to hear a head coach talk about his kids like that, man. It's all about the kids.
That's what's great about college sports, and we've had high school coaches like that. But first off, I know Marshall upset Notre Dame too, but man, what's going on with College Station? I mean, in Texas A&M. To my opinion, I think Jimbo, he's got to get himself an OC. I think he's calling the plays.
Jimbo's calling the plays?
I think he is.
Well, I guess that's why they're paying him $10 million a year to lose to App State, right? Yeah, man, he might need to take some of his salary and pay somebody to do that for him, man. But they are. I don't want to even get into what Saban said about him buying all his players.
Yeah,
because I really don't care about that. If these kids can make some kind of money for doing what they do, let them do it.
Right, I'm all for it.
Yeah, I'm all for it. But these coaches, like I said, this is why you get paid the big money. You got to put your players in the right position to be successful. And he did not do that. He did not do that. I don't think he knew how to do that, you know. And it's going to come to a point to where his players is not going to be confident in him. And A&M going to have to pay a lot of money to get rid of him. You know, a lot of money.
I'm starting to believe that I don't think there's an out clause that I don't think that they can exit from. I think he is guaranteed that entire ridiculous contract.
Yeah, he the only way they can get rid of him. It's just going to cost a lot of money. They'll just continue to pay him his $10 million a year for the next 8 years or something like that. Because he came in on a 10-year contract, no?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, a 10-year contract and worth about $100 million. And he's been here for 3 years.
It's his third year, same record as Kevin Sumlin through this first 30 games, I think.
The same record?
I think it's the first 30 games, yeah.
Oh, my goodness. They're in trouble, man. If he can't turn it around, they're in trouble. But now, in the same breath, you do have to give some of these coaches a little bit more time.
These days, yeah.
Yeah. So he's had 3 years, but isn't it going downward now?
First year, I think they were 8-5, and then COVID year, I think they won. They had one loss. Last year was pretty good.
Yeah.
But I don't think they didn't get in the CFP.
Mm-hmm.
But because they beat Alabama last year at home.
That's right. Now, that first game, I think, didn't they struggle that first game? It was like 17-0 against who they played? Sam Houston. Yeah. But they ended up, winning out or coming out after the game the second half. But they do have struggles. And struggling against Sam Houston and then losing to App State. That's actually you're struggling. Like that wasn't a one-off game that you're not doing well for that one game. You are struggling for the season.
Well, they're going to figure something out, Stevie. They got Miami this week.
Oh my goodness! And then, is there another game? And then we go into conference play.
Yeah, I'm curious how that's set up for them because I want to say they start conference play.
Miami
with Ole Miss. Let's see. Let's check out Texas A&M. I'm curious. Now I will. In their defense, a lot of people put a lot of pressure. Well, they just had the number one recruiting class, dude. It takes 2 years to develop all those guys.
Well, yeah, for the most part. But you would if you got the number one recruiting class in the country. With just those freshmen and sophomores as you have, you should beat App State.
You should beat App State any time of A&M. That's inexcusable. Texas A&M Appalachian State had no business winning that game.
No question.
I mean, they're good, but they're not great.
Yeah, exactly. They just got to D1 college football, and you're going up against a program that's been there for 50 years, so at least 50 years.
So listen to this. Listen to this run. Oh, my goodness. 13th ranked Miami this weekend. Wow. Next week, go to Arlington, play Arkansas. Then Mississippi State, then at Alabama.
At Alabama, who's going to be pissed off that they lost last year. And Saban and Jimbo have words over the offseason. So, and I've seen Alabama in person. They're good.
They're pretty good. They're going to win a few games.
Yeah, they're pretty good. And they're going to have a chip on their shoulder with the A&M and a team like A&M. I mean, I don't think he'll let up. He'll because Jimbo had some pretty choice words for Nick Saban.
He did, and then all of a sudden at media day, they cleaned it up.
They what?
For some reason, the SEC media days, it was like both of them took a completely polar opposite route. Oh, everything's wonderful and clean. Everything's good between us.
Yeah, no, it's not. I promise you it's
It's a wild thing, man.
Yeah, man.
But I tell you what, man, this is my message to the Texas fans. Just enjoy it week by week because you're going to see a lot of great things develop, win or lose. But there will be more wins this year coming. They're on the horizon.
Got you. You got somebody throwing stuff at you over there?
Man, I've got animals in this house and they're running over stuff. You hear that? I want to pull that George Bush in Iraq. What do you go for Iraq?
Yeah, get the shoe thrown at you. Oh man, that's funny.
Cat-like reflexes.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I'm looking forward to the rest of the season, man, because I really think that we're gelling together. The coaches know what they're doing right now. Torrey Bechtel's got these kids running fast and they're big. You know, you can be big, but you don't know what to do with your size, and then you're stuck in the water, right? But these players look like grown men out there that just running around having a good time. So it was just fun to watch. Yeah,
having fun. Can't wait. There's a few tickets remaining. UT San Antonio night game against a decent opponent.
Yeah,
you know.
That'll be fun, and going out and hanging out at the tailgates and all that stuff all week. That'll be a lot of fun.
It's a great time to be in Austin, Texas.
No question.
It's a great time to be in any college town this time of year.
Yeah, man.
Oh, Stevie. So this one, we'll connect at this tailgate for sure.
No question. Let's do it.
Man, it was ADHD paradise for that Alabama morning yet on Saturday morning.
It was, man. I was pulled all different ways. And I just wanted to get in the stadium and watch the warm-ups and all that stuff too. So I'm sorry I missed you, but I had some other guys come up, and then I said, babe, let's just go in the game. So we went and grabbed our seats, sat there. That's when I got my waters. And my whole bag of waters, man. So I'd have to go up and down the stairs and just sit there and hydrate. And we watched warm-ups. They were just flying around in warm-ups. I felt the energy then. Yeah.
That's insane. It was insane. You could feel it in the entire that whole portion of Austin.
Yeah.
That was fun. Stevie, I can't wait, man. Roadrunners are next. I can't wait to feel that energy again. You know, it's hard not to be biased, but man, it's good times are about to start up pretty soon here.
No question, man. It's a lot of fun right now in Austin, Texas.
100, always. Great day to be alive, God's country. Move here. Everyone else is. Go with Stevie Lee. He'll help you.
No question.
He'll find you a nice home.
A very nice home, man. For a little bit more than what we used to be paying for houses here in Austin.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit more.
My brother, Stevie Lee, the former Longhorn D lineman from Shreveport, Louisiana, and the OG Man Cave boys, that being Hardball Hards, Big Mike, and Coach Mo. We out.